This inevitably will lead to even more cost, more subsidies, and higher profits for insurance companies, a bailout under Blue Cross. Now, that's what Dennis Kucinich said about H.R. 3962, the congressman, who is an avowed socialist. The other day, Dylan Ratigan on MSNBC was giving Representative Wasserman Schultz a hard time about the health care package. He disputed her contention that the bill was a big win for consumers. He wanted to know why the stock prices for big insurers, and it goes through the names, shot up as if it was such a big loss for them. Unfortunately, he was so exercised on the point, he didn't even give us and his guest a chance to address the question. This is an important question. And then they go through it. But the larger issue is I've read the Wall Street Journal with the head lobbyist for the consortium for insurance companies saying, we want this bill. We wrote this bill. We'll be right back after this quick break, and we'll get into your phone calls. Then I'm going to get into what really happened at Copenhagen. Stay with us. I did a special video release, a 10-minute analysis that's up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. I'm going to play that here. It's just 10 minutes long, coming up at the end of this hour or at the start of the next hour. I'm not sure yet. Title, Copenhagen Births World Government Framework Despite Fallout Over Science Fraud. And a lot of people are confused. They're saying, what exactly happened at Copenhagen? Ban Ki-moon, the head of the UN, the head of the IPCC, and others said this will be the establishment of world government, a global treaty, global taxes. The media is saying it's a complete failure. It's close to a complete failure, but not totally. So that is coming up. But I want to salute everybody that's been fighting against this fraud because the momentum has now shifted towards folks that are telling the truth and exposing the fact that this is just another tax, but the first major tax administered, run, enforced, paid directly to the private IMF and World Bank. So that is coming up. Also, I went and saw last night the James Cameron's new $500 million Avatar, and I can now give you my review of it. I had read reviews of the film before I saw it, and no one seemed to talk about what the film was really about. Just like reviews for The Watchmen didn't seem to understand what the film was all about. The Watchmen, huge hit film, was openly about global government and how this elite group stages terror attacks as a pretext to bring the world together, and how staging terror attacks are good. I mean, a 2-year-old can tell that's what the movie's about. That's how the movie ends. And they spell it out in the film. And when I walked out of the movie 6 months ago or whenever it was out in theaters earlier this year, everyone was saying, what was that about? I didn't understand that. What is the blind spot in the population? When I walked out of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, I was listening to people. And they were saying, I didn't understand that movie. Well, I mean, what didn't you understand? Senator Palpatine is staging terror attacks against himself as a pretext to take the people's rights away. I've had national news reporters ask me over and over again, well, why would governments want to stage terror attacks? And I said, well, why did Hitler, February 27th, 1933, this is nonfiction, stage a terror attack and blow up the Capitol, the Reichstag? He did it to set up a police state, to say, oh, I've got to take your rights to stop whoever blew up the Capitol because of the newsreel images of the Capitol on fire. Why did Hitler stage an attack on his own military base in 1939 at Gleiwitz, now declassified, as a pretext to attack Poland? The Germans didn't just get up one day and say, Heil Hitler, let's attack Poland for no reason. Hitler blew up his own military base. I mean, people don't understand The Watchmen. They don't understand Revenge of the Sith. They don't understand Hitler. They don't understand, well, why would the government, okay, Alex, I know it's declassified now that LBJ staged the attack in the Gulf of Tonkin on our ships, but why would he do that? You frame someone so you get to launch a war. What is it you don't understand about that? That's now declassified. All right, I'm now digressing, but I'm getting off into false flag terror, but that's not what Avatar is all about. It has nothing to do with false flag. It's just that I couldn't believe when I walked out of the theater, people were saying I didn't get that movie. I didn't understand that movie. And I can't believe that none of the reviews I read, and then after I saw the film, I Googled terms last night and this morning that would properly review the film, and no one got it. And I'm not that smart, folks. I don't know how someone wouldn't get the message of Avatar when the whole film was propaganda. The whole film was brainwashing directly from the United Nations. So coming up near the end of the show, I'm going to play the trailer for Avatar here and give my review of it. I have really lost any respect I had for James Cameron. I think the guy means well with his propaganda, but just really a shame. And everybody in there being indoctrinated, the theater full of children. I wouldn't have taken my children if I would have had any idea what type of propaganda this was. I did take my 2 older children to it, and which was a mistake. I would not take your children to see this movie. And I would not take the weak-minded to see this movie because it is certainly brainwashing. An article by Steve Watson, Death of the Internet, Censorship, Bills in UK, Australia, US administration to block undesirable websites. Okay, and I actually contributed to this article with Steve. Australia has announced Chinese-style net censorship. The government has ordered ISPs in the last year to install government indexes, government-produced indexes that block thousands of websites, and they can add any new websites they wish. How do you think China blocks most Western websites? How do you think Iran blocks many websites? How do you think Libya blocks websites? How do you think other tyrannies block websites? Okay? They have filtering systems. Now, the NSA is establishing, 9 different bases that will not just block information and run the blocking and make sure that ISPs are complying, but that will also snoop on everything you're doing. They're already doing it, but they're beefing up their capability to spy on even more people. I mean, I don't understand what you're talking about, sir. There's many different forms of censorship. There's also big databases that are being sold by so-called internet security companies to colleges, to wireless networks, to high schools, to libraries, where they block literally hundreds of thousands of sites. Infowars.com, prisonplanet.com, for more than a decade, we've confirmed report after report of our websites blocked. In England, the government in their major cities, and this has been in the news, blocks hundreds of thousands of websites, Infowars.com, prisonplanet.com among them. That has been in mainstream news. And so they start offering all this, quote, free bandwidth, free broadband, but then they install blockers in there. And so that's, I mean, look, I don't want to not get to the other callers, so I can't go into a 10-hour rant on this, but perhaps in the future I should do a whole hour or maybe a whole 2-hour Sunday show just on this. They also want to start making you log in with your identity to surf. They want to start taxing the web more. There's a lot of ways they control this, but it's already done in China. Now England and Australia is adopting it. Canada's looking at it, and so is the U.S.